get a little reverb, a little bit, a little volume. Oh, nah, nah. Treat me nice, Kelly. Yeah, thank you very much. You're heading up to the mountain. I'll be there. You're heading up to the clouds. Hand up in the air. Hand up in the air. You're heading up to the mountain. I'll be there. You're heading up to the clouds. Hand up in the air. Let me take you high, like a bird in flight, far beyond the sky. You know there is more to life. This is only part of it. Take you where the magic is. Take you to the paradise. You know there is more to life. Lose yourself in a smile and make the whole world turn over. Who knew you could find love up in the arms of a stranger? You're full of magic, don't waste it. Touch my heart and you change me. Full of fire, you're blazing. Watch out, my spirit jumping up higher. Feeling I could fly. So much thing on the mind. I wanna go higher. You spark my desire. Fire raging inside. I wanna see you smile. Time to go. Hey, 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 hey.
And I do think there's a better way for us to say greetings. Welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Roster. We are here at Sound the Forge. Here we have Mohammed Muwakil, Lou Lyons, DJ Rawkus of Freetown Collective. We are waiting. We are really excited to have this conversation. Gentlemen, thank you so much for making the time. Pleasure, as always, to bounce some ideas off and sometimes get questions to answer questions. So, according to Kwame Ture, sometimes you start at you go down to a better quality zero. So it's not back to the first tile. We're a little higher because there are levels to this. But let's start us off, please, Lou. Give us a context of what the Tight Spaces is about.
Tight Spaces is about, in one word, community. Many times we view the relationship between artist and patron or artist and fan as this distant thing to be adored or worshipped. And for us, the community that is around Freetown, aptly call our residents, they're literally the reason why we are able to sustain this thing. So even though we might pick up and go on tour, hop on planes, produce big songs, have big shows, it's always important to check in on a community level and ensure that the connection's still healthy.
And on that level of health, I want to ask you, Mohammed, how easy is it to kind of keep that community, keep that grounding? Because if you look at some of the comments, like I remember somebody was saying, sing along or bite your lip and slow wine. Instantly my new favorite song. Let me think to fat up your head a little bit.
Right.
Lightning and thunder.
Oh, I mean from that aspect, right? No. Just look to my left, and you will see where my humility, the pool of my humility resides very, very deeply. No. We just keep each other in check. My head gag as well. I thought too much pain all over the place between Tonya, Lou, Jira, whatever. And I don't think any of us really have that kind of personality anyway. Nobody do we stunt on each other. Because the truth is, people seeing one end of it, right? Them seeing the end product. By the time the end product out, we done so tired and working on the next thing already that is like, you reading comments? I don't even know. That's for Karen. Karen doesn't read comments. Wow. We'd just be glad to go and sleep.
But talking about sleep, even before the sleep, what has the schedule been like, Rawkus?
the schedule for Tight Spaces.
Yes, thank you.
For Tight Spaces, we've been doing weekly rehearsals. We've been doing weekly shows as well. So, and every week, Mr. Lyons loves to change his set. Sometimes in drastic ways, sometimes in subtle ways. But definitely making each Tight Space a different experience. So we would have kicked off at the smallest one in Cafe Noir back in May, at the end of May. And then in June, we would have visited Beyond Yoga, and then we went to Tobago at Beverly's Oasis Suites, and then we came back to Trinidad and did Naparima Bowl, and the finale at Soundforge.
But is part of that changing up the set and that intuitive movement part of the function of Tight Spaces? Because especially if you're close enough so that you can feel that energy and people not there, there's the distance and there's also the phone between, and you're just communicating while using words and energy. Is that part of the function of Tight Spaces as well?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I agree. We have people who've come to 2 and 3 of them because they know it's going to be a different experience, because they did it last year. They might have come to one and they say, no, I want to try out how it could be in the smaller one. And they came to Cafe Noir, and then they realized, oh my goodness, I love this one, but I also like what I experienced last year, so I come to one yoga as well. There's somebody who's been to 3 out of the 4 of them, you know. So people are very grateful for the experience, but I think because it's a different experience every time, even for us, it's a different experience every time.
And do you all find yourself balancing? And one of the things I like to do is kind of be a big head fly on the wall, looking at how people are speaking with each other and communicating without necessarily using words. So like, you go. And hey, I like that groove. That pocket you're creating there, it's nice.
Yeah.
So what is that like? I see you raise your mic, Mohammed.
No, Tight Spaces, definitely that. We get to do that more. And especially me. I mean, I know when we're on bigger stages, I'm much further away from them. I do get to turn around a bit. I get to communicate on a certain level, but I feel like they always communicating with each other way more than they are with me. But during Tight Spaces, I get to be a little part of that a little more, and it's nice.
Mm-hmm. As much as we've rehearsed a lot this time around, we have rehearsed less than last year and the year before that, and deliberately so, because leave it up to me, I have the tendency to over-rehearse, to over-practice, and it was a deliberate exercise for me in spontaneity, allowing some of the magic to come from not rehearsing too much.
Well, I think it's time for some of the magic. So we get a little music and we go into a break. We're speaking with Freetown Collective about Tight Spaces. We're talking before the last one, so you'll be seeing it after, but at the same time, the conversation is something that is beautiful. Stay with us. We'll return after this.
Every flower wants to meet the sun. I know I can't be the only one. Sunrise, daylight. I want to be a vibe in your paradise. I'm yours, you're mine. Flowing electric under the blue sky. When the storm comes rolling in, remember, I'm your lightning, I outrun the thunder. Hey. So let them say what they say when they see we. They can't stop the time, nor the vibe, nor the energy. Say what they say when they see we. We on top the world are coming down for nobody. Wake me up. I want to live my dreams in a real life too. Wake me up. I want to live my dreams in a real life. Dreaming a real life. Dreaming a real life. I saw you come like just like the sunrise. You just feel right. Hey, is what you feel like. Dreaming a real life. Dreaming a real life. Dreaming a real life. Dreaming a real life.
Welcome back. We are having a conversation with members of Freetown. We are at Sound Forge. Looking forward to the conversation. You will be seeing this after the final Tight Spaces concert for this season. But at the same time, I think the conversation moves even further than that. How important is it, gentlemen? And I think I want to get this from each of you, please. We start with you, Mohammed, go down the line. To have a space that you are able to enlarge a little bit, so that people who are in your circle get a little more shine. People say, hey, I see that person from that Freetown Collective concert, that person bad, you know. Let me look for them. How important was the significance of being able to do that to you?
Yeah, when there are a lot of artists who, when they came into themselves, especially outside of the mainstream, there would have been a platform from people like Tree Canal. I can't even say people like Tree Canal. The Tree Canal show was a place where young budding artists would come and perform and get, cut their teeth, as they say. And it's important, I think, as generations progress, for there always to be those types of spaces that stand somewhere close to the mainstream, but just outside of it, but they're able to give a platform to artists who otherwise would not end up directly in the mainstream. But people get to see them on a wider scale, and they get the opportunity to be on stage shows, learn miking techniques, learn performance techniques, learn everything about stage show, and be present for that. So, yeah, that's very important for any culture.
And it's funny because that's something I was going to ask Rawkus directly, seeing that you have a little experience,
Not
certain
just
ways.
experience, I'm a literal product of that.
Hey.
Literally, I mean, my career started as a DJ in the Tree Canal show in Little Carib, and I was the MC at that point, and then I went on to host the pre-show, and then I was invited into the band because I was a DJ already and I was a space in the band, and that's where I learned how to work in a band. Lots of lessons I would have brought across here to Freetown Collective as well that I would have learned in Tree Canal, but I learned theater production values because they have no show in Trinidad and Tobago like the Tree Canal show. Like, every year it is a mind-blowing show, and to be a part of that process for so many years, if I didn't learn nothing, I was wasting time. You understand? So for me, seeing the value of not just the value of learning what I learned, but the value of how it was passed down and how the mentorship works. I've seen people come through like Second Star, people like Shaf, people like Ola Tunji. They've all passed through at some point in time, and I mean, nobody is unsure as to who those people are now. We know who they are. When they came, they weren't superstars. They come and they put in the work, and they continue putting in the work, and they took some of those lessons along the way. So it's important that we continue that. It's important that anything that I'm a part of continues to do that, to provide a platform where we can.
That's interesting. And we come back to you, Lou, but it's interesting. One of the things is almost this kind of hidden yet not hidden curriculum, because you may think, okay, well, I am an artist, so I want to be an artist, I'm an aspiring artist, but then learning things that you didn't think that you would have needed to know, like blocking, just presence, looking at how it is you're able to do more with less, this kind of minimalistic things. And from there being able to scale it up. But at the same time, Lou, talk to me. How important was the significance of being able to spread that space and allow people to connect with each other?
Symbiosis. It's not just us providing a platform for their self-discovery. It's also us tapping into the genius of youth in a very non-exploitative way. Every show with a different guest act feels different, even if the Freetown set stays the same. So it's important for the junior artists coming up to see how they impact the show and how they are part of the final product and they are part of the enjoyment that the residents have access to.
That journey of self-discovery, how free are you able to be inside and outside of Trinidad and Tobago? And I say that because sometimes, and you spoke to it a little bit, Mohammed, in terms of sometimes this is the road that everybody traveling on it wide. But I want to do it a little different. By not seeing anybody else doing it a little different. I'm not even sure what that different is. You spoke, Lou, to self-discovery. So is it that you go outside to get it? Is it that you dig down inside to get it? What does that process look like if you wanted to kind of distill it to a bit of a granular level?
It has to start with you. Self-discovery. You have to believe that there is a self to discover and actually put in work what happens when you go out is confirmation that you're valuable if you're not getting that confirmation at home. But if you're going out there to discover self, if you're starting externally, bro, that's a sad journey. Because if every point at which you try to get that confirmation, there's none, what's left?
Not only that, but everything you become impressed by, you're going to take it on. And be like, oh, that's real bad. I's that. I was some of that. Oh, this trending now. Oh, wait, let's go and be quiet first. Figure it out.
Rawkus, how do you kind of help to manage that a little bit in terms of, because sometimes people talk about sonic prints, but as opposed to saying, hey, this trending, talking to the group and members and saying, hey, this is what I'm feeling. Let's see how we could articulate this a little bit. What does that look like?
That just looks like every day. That's our normal interaction. I think that we've gotten to a place where we can be honest with each other. And we could say, I ain't feeling that, or I'm feeling that. And I mean, it happens all the time. And it happens like we constantly work on making each other better. So I don't consider myself to be the best bassist ever. So I go play a wrong note every now and then, but Lou will help me to correct where I may not even know I going wrong. Because of my years of DJing, I could bust a real good argument, right? So I could help Mohammed because he didn't have years of DJing to learn how to bust arguments. He didn't even like the idea of busting an argument. But now he understands the value of it because we could put it in our context for Freetown. So it's taking the things that you've learned over the years and applying it. And for me, like it goes back to that same thing you was talking about with having younger artists or other artists involved and making that next step. Is sometimes you just learn from seeing people do. Sometimes people need a space. Just like you said, like, how do I, as an artist, find myself? Where do I go to find myself? So even if I'm on a journey of self-discovery and I come into a space where it's like, oh, this is not what I've been seeing everywhere else. And I've heard people say that. It's like, this is very different and I feel very comfortable here. So it's not that they come in here to find themselves, but it's a place where they can relax and they don't have to be so tense, but they could still be out in public and have a good time. You know what I mean?
And if intention is the thing, people can intentionally come to a space where there, and to use your words, several ropes being thrown. You understand? Through them a rope. But looking at the spaces that you've been in and moving through spaces, talk a little bit about things like Glastonbury, What kind of feeling is that? Because them spaces are a little less tight than tight spaces.
Yeah. I know how I feeling now. Like, there was a time, I think, where I wasn't ready for a space like that. And I used to tell Luda all the time. I was like, on these big stages, when it have that, like, 15 feet between the first person and you on the stage sometimes. And Glastonbury probably going to be different, but a lot of those bigger stages, there was a time when I didn't feel like I could cross that gap. Like, couldn't feel like I could make that connection. But now, with the way that the band is and the way that we have been moving each other and dreaming together and moving, yeah, I don't have any fear of that anymore. There's nothing to fear. The music is good. My arguments have gotten a lot better. And I have a lot more confidence in myself, in the band, in everything that we do. So Glastonbury is a big step, right? And in many ways, not really. Like, we're grateful for that, right? We're grateful for it. But a lot of times I think we tend to define ourselves by these types of moments. And while it is a great moment, I am more looking forward to our show in Brixton. I'm more looking forward to establishing that type of energy. We want to be able to go in other places, through our own shows, and show what we're really worth in certain spaces. But Glastonbury and spaces like that are really amazing for me because those people don't owe you anything. If it's good, it's good. If it ain't good, it ain't good. They're not on that.
And we learned that very easily last year when we went to UB40 because the audience didn't know who we were. There maybe were like 10 people in the audience who knew who Freetown was, if so many. But by the time we reached the third song, we saw people moving towards the stage like, hey, we like this, what's this? And then by the time we reached the middle of the set, everybody was with us. It was magical because they're just there for the music, nothing else.
I think it's a beautiful thing to have that kind of blank slate where people are willing to. Because sometimes that no song like what I used to, I'm not used to that taste. So I'm not really on that, as opposed to being open to the possibility of. But I hear you as a man who's real change up the set and things sometimes intuitively, Mr. Lou. So I think your choose was the last thing that we're doing, what we're going out with. Thank you. And we're saying very, 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 we're very grateful to Rawkus, Lou Lyons, Muhammad Mawakil, and to you for tuning in. This has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. We also want to thank the folks at Sound the Forge for allowing this exercise. And we go out with this.
Yeah, man. And we must shout out the Trinity to Shana Malini and Shana, who not here right now, but critical to the sound. Big up Odell too. Big up Sheena. Big up Kelly. Everybody. May your heart find peace anywhere you come from. Coulda up, you coulda down, blessing. Oh, yeah. Let me go. Yeah. This city can't hold me. My vibe's too high. And my heart it told me jump right now, you will touch the sky. Feel my love unfolding like a laughing flame. All who did not know me when not done, they gon' know the name. Million people coming down, dancing to a song. Love is life and life is love. Blessings from above. Can you feel the love that's in the air? If you feel it, let me hear you say, dancing, moving, moving everywhere. If you feel it, let me hear you say, na 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 na. To the river, take me to the sea, wash over me music. We are such a blessed tribe, sweeter than a million bees. People live 1,000 lives and never feel this free. Yeah. Coming down, dancing to a song. Love is life and life is love, blessings from above. Can you feel the love that's in the air? Well, if you feel it, let me hear you say, dancing, moving, grooving everywhere. Feel it, let me hear you say, na 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 na. Oh, oh yeah, na 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 na. Na 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 na.